Good evening, everyone. This is a public meeting of the Lowell Zoning Board of Appeals for November 28, 2011. Tonight, we have quite a few petitions under new business, and we have one administrative review. I'd like to remind everyone, if you plan on addressing the board, that you please sign in with your name and address. With that said, I'm going to take the agenda out of order. I'm going to start with the administrative review. This is ZB 2011-32. The petition is a variance. The applicant is Linda Machado. Property is located at 116 Nesmith Street, and the petition was to construct a deck that encroaches into front yard dimensional requirements pursuant to section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. Is Ms. Machado here, please? Hi. Hi, how are you? So the last time you were in here, you were approved with some conditions. We also had asked for administrative review to get an update of where we're at.
Right.
My understanding, we received some comments from DPD. Did you receive those also?
No.
You didn't receive anything in the mail?
You mean, oh, yes, I did. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. After reviewing the number of comments, do you feel like you're ready to address those, or do you feel like you need some more time to,
Well,
it's kind of a two-page summary
Right.
of items.
right. Well, my contractor
Sure.
is with me also.
If you can address the board, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Chairman, board members? Joseph Andela from AJC Builders.
Okay.
We just got this in the last couple of days, but
Great.
a lot of the questions on there, this plan we submitted was kind of like self-explanatory about the elevation of the, we're supposed to drop the deck down 8 inches. That was on the plan, that new
Right.
plan we submitted. As far as the landscape plan, there was a question on it regarding the 4 existing shrubs that are there. Yes, we are going to replant those. On the plan that was submitted, does show the relocation of those shrubs on there.
Okay.
And the other one is
The color.
the color. The only color we can get is white. It's a PVC railings. The only color we can get for that is white because it has a 5-foot-high privacy fence also.
Now, was that after exhausting a number of manufacturers or suppliers, or do you work with only one brand?
Well, actually, I didn't go to a lot of different suppliers,
Sure.
but it's just a basic,
Yep.
simple 2 sections of privacy fence, that's all.
Right. Well, I can remember at our last meeting, that's one of the things I talked about, was trying to match up with the trim as best as possible.
Yeah, but there's a lot of trim on the house. The existing
understand
windows
that.
are all white already. That's
Yep.
why we thought that'd be a good color.
Yep,
The body of the house is pink. I don't really want to go with anything in that, you
yep.
know.
Now, if I also recall, there was a comment regarding, I'll call it the setback from the front of the house. The original plan had it in alignment with the front of the house, and now the latest plan has been pushed back, I think it was 8 inches, if I recall.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, it's not a problem at all.
Okay, maybe I misread it. I thought the original plan was to be in the same alignment with the front of the house.
Well, the
Correct
original
me if
plan
I'm
was a
wrong.
12 by 12 deck. We
No,
cut
I
it down to
understand that.
12 by 10.
Yep.
So we're going to go 2 feet less to the back.
Correct.
We have the new plot plan for that, showing the 12 by 10 location.
Correct,
Want me-
yep.
Do you have that already?
Yeah, but let me get to it. The deck, the comment about the deck setback from Nesmith Street building facade does not correspond to the site plan. Shows the deck aligned with Nesmith Street was the original plan. The latest plan, I believe, shows it not in alignment with the Nesmith Street facade.
Okay.
Oh, am I reading that incorrectly? Excuse me, Aaron.
I think you are. It's basically the site plan that was submitted with the application shows the deck, as you said, aligned with the front facade along Nesmith Street. The deck plan and elevation that were submitted at the night of the meeting that the variance was approved shows that the deck actually set back from Nesmith Street another couple feet, which I think is a positive improvement. The comment basically is encouraging the deck plan and the site plan to be aligned. They should match and correspond with it as a final product. So I just wanted to point that out and make sure that whatever is submitted for a final landscape plan for approval, that they match on the site plan as well as the deck plan.
Okay, do you follow what Aaron's saying, or?
You're saying you want the deck to set back 2 more feet further than the existing setback from the house, or did you want the deck, this plan here shows that we cut it back 12 by 10, but we cut 2 feet off the back of the deck, not the front of the deck. Which way do you want it to go?
Okay. Go ahead.
That's a different comment. The site plan that is submitted by the civil engineer, that shows the deck, that just doesn't match the deck plan. And whatever is approved finally should have a site plan and a deck plan that show the same thing.
Yep. Okay.
All right, well, with the
So,
site, the
yeah,
only
go ahead.
question is the site plan that I have is the same when I'm talking. I don't know if we have different plans or not, but this shows a 12 by 10 deck with a setback of 23 feet off Nesmith Street. Are we sticking with 23 feet, or are we gonna go to 21 feet? Or, I mean, 25 feet? It doesn't matter, we can do either one, I'm just trying to iron it out.
Yeah, go ahead, Aaron. I'm sorry.
I could just say that the latest plan that we have from the civil engineer, it's signed by Mr. Ludwig and dated for July 18th, 2011, depicts the 12 by 12 foot deck, and it is flush with the Nesmith Street facade. That's the latest site plan that we have.
Isn't that the name?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to make sure, so do you agree or disagree with Aaron's trying to explain to you? I believe I understand the way it's supposed to
Okay.
work here, but,
I'm a little lost because,
Okay.
What do you want for a setback? We have 23 now, right? Am I right or wrong? We have 23 feet in the setback from Desmond Street. According to this certified plot plan right here, it's the same plan, I think.
No, they have the 12 by 12.
Okay. Does your plan show a 12 by 12 deck or a 10 by 12 deck?
this, I believe it's 10 by 12.
Okay, that's what I have here, 10 by 12 also.
Yep.
Okay, that's what we talked about, that we cut it down from 12-12 to 10-12.
Right.
Okay. My question is, maybe I'm misunderstanding, but are you talking about pushing that back 2 more feet to make it 25 feet off Nesmith, or are you talking that's okay?
We don't have that plan. I don't have a plan that says 10 by 12 feet, so if I could review that one, or do you have one? Okay, if I could try to clarify this a little bit more. So this is a revised plan. However, the comment that we're addressing right now, refers to it not so much reducing the deck any more than it already has been. It's just the placement alongside of the building. So this plan shows along the Nesmith Street frontage, the deck running flush with the existing facade. The deck plans, the architectural plans that show the plans in elevation, section, and plan, show that the deck are set back from the facade by approximately 2 feet. What this comment is trying to solve is the basic confusion that we are reviewing right now. The plans should match. So the question is what's being proposed on this revised site plan, or what's being proposed on the deck plan? That's what we're trying to find out.
Okay. So if I understand what's going on, the original site plan, set of plans that were submitted, it was lined up with the front of the facade.
Yes,
When the new deck plan was submitted and the size of the deck was reduced, it looks like, according to what DPD is saying, is it gets set back approximately 2 feet.
okay.
So do you,
We can do whatever you want. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. We can keep it
Well-
flush or we can move it back 2 feet. Just whatever you want, we can do.
yeah. Well, we want to be consistent that, and this is what
Right,
DPD
right, no,
is
I
saying.
understand.
So if we can have the set of plans that show them with the original site plan and documents that they were alignment with the facade, if you can have the new deck plan align with that, also including the reduction of the deck, we should be all set.
Okay. All right, one other question.
Sure.
On this items here, one says, we had a pine tree out front, it's a huge pine tree, it was 3 shoots off, we're gonna
Yep.
cut one of the shoots off. Is that still okay? Because on this here, it talks about preserving the pine tree in the front yard.
Okay, another, talking about that same particular, I guess I'm going to call it a tree, with the, if you're going to remove one of the, I'll call it one of the limbs from
Limbs,
it.
yes.
Yep. And I believe there was another comment in here, talked about, based on the newest set of plans, is it still your intention that you're not going to have to disturb that tree again? In other words, you're going to have to remove anything else. And if you are going to have to remove anything else, what is the new landscape plan that would include replacing that tree?
All right, we're only gonna take one limb off that tree,
Yep,
and then the rest, we're gonna put arborvitae's along the front, like the plan shows.
okay,
There's some existing shrubs we're taking out, we're gonna replant them right in the same area.
okay, good. All right. Okay. Yeah, and this is why, you know, I asked the question up front.
No, that's right.
You
I
need a little
understand.
bit more time because when
Okay.
I read through all of these changes,
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that both of you were comfortable with what was being suggested here.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to think, sketch lamp plate. So we also, I think it was mentioned about the, you're going to have 4 arborvitae's that are going to run across the front of the deck, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And you also addressed the rest of the shrubs are going to be removed for the new deck to be put in and how you're going to handle. So how many shrubs of the 6 are coming out on the side of the house?
only 4.
4, okay.
They're gonna be replaced, plus we're gonna add 4 more arborvitae's.
Yeah, okay. And will those be in front of the new deck, or are those going to be still on the side of the main home?
They're gonna be in front of the new deck.
Yep, okay. Same height as what you're taking out, as opposed to more arborvitae's?
Yes.
We're just doing arborvitae's in front, okay. Is there a, I'm going to open it up to the board next, but is there anything else you want to add before we continue?
No, basically, everything's fine. We can kinda do what you want. If you wanna move it back, we can. If not, you wanna keep it flush
Yep.
to the front of the facade, we
Okay.
can do that too.
Okay. All right. Kevin, do you have any comments at this point?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I don't really have any further comments. I think it's just a clarification of the 2 drawings to match each other. I think we had agreed on setting it back 2 feet off the front of the house. So I think the plans just have to match, but that's all I
Okay,
have.
not a problem.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Gary?
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Vesna?
It's appear that the petitioners has basically agreed to most of what a DPD had proposed in terms of the condition, so I have no problem with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Corey?
Yeah, a couple of points, Mr. Chairman, that echo Kevin Ahern's statements, that, I'm looking for consistency to the plan myself, and as Mr. New stated, I think the petitioner is willing to do whatever DPT asks, so I'm okay with it at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you. Dennis?
I think all the concerns have been raised. I agree with the 2-foot setback again, so I think everything, it makes sense. No further comments.
Okay, thank you. So based on everything, okay, I got to open it up to the public, I'm sorry. Is there anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, the portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. So what I would like to do right now is, it sounds like the major stumbling block is to make sure the site plan and the deck plan are both in agreement. So if you could resubmit the new deck plan to DPD, and also that each of the items that we talked about here that were in the summary, it sounds like you're going to follow up on all the recommendations that were here. I can't think of anything else that's missing. Like I stated before, you know, the color to me was something that I was looking for, but it sounds like, you know, if it's white we're gonna have to go with, I guess it's white we'll sit with. There was one comment about the railing size. You're changing the, I think there was one comment in there, while I'm thinking about that, the railing height was going to change. In fact, it was gonna be reduced, which,
Well, that's the privacy fence, yeah.
Yep.
We cut it down to 5 feet. It was gonna be 6 feet. We cut it down to 5
Yeah.
feet. Plus, we lowered the deck down 8 inches.
yep, which was supported by
Yes.
the city on that, so
Right,
I
right.
appreciate that.
Yes.
Okay. Aaron, with the administrative review, is there anything else we have to cover? Do we take a vote to,
You should take a vote just to approve it.
Yeah.
Whatever
okay,
you've seen.
so you all, so,
Make a motion to approve.
I have a second?
Second.
I have a roll call?
Mr. Bailey?
Approved.
Mr. Belanger?
Approve.
Mr. Ahern?
Approve.
Mr. Noon?
Approve.
Mr. Perrin?
Approve.
Thank you, you've been approved, and good luck with the project.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Thank you, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, next matter before us is under new business. This is ZB 2011-50. The petition is a special permit under telecommunications. The applicant is Sprint PCS. The property is located at 40 Princeton Boulevard, and the petition is to replace 6 existing antennas with 6 new antennas, add 9 radio heads, and replace equipment cabinets in the building's basement with new, I don't know what's supposed to be after that, pursuant to section 7.6 of the zoning ordinance. Is there a representative of Sprint? Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm Eric Callio. I work with Sprint, and I'm here this evening to represent their application at the 40.T Princeton Boulevard site.
Okay. Would you like to tell us about the plans?
Absolutely. Sprint is in the process of doing some upgrades and maintenance work on their sites, and this is the first of 3 sites we have before the board in Lowell. And what Sprint is proposing here is we're existing on this property in Lowell, and what we're looking to propose in the church steeple is to swap the existing antennas for 6 new network vision communication antennas that, along with that, 9 remote radio heads will be installed. And then we're also going to be looking to replace the existing equipment cabinet in the equipment room with a new cabinet. Other than that, I mean, nothing on the outside of the steeple will be changed. It'll look the same as it does now. All the work is happening inside. And I did supply to the board earlier today both photo simulations as well as RF radio plots that was asked for in a letter that I received last Wednesday from the Department of Planning and Development.
Do you have extra copies of those, sir?
Yes, I do, actually.
Yep. Could you pass them out, please?
Yep.
Yep.
Who would you like me to give them to?
Do you have enough for each of the board members, or do you?
I'd have to ask you to share. I did email
Sure.
it to...
Yeah, if you can just hand out, if you're going to give them to me, we'll share them. Okay, great, thank you. Okay. I should just pass those down to those guys. So, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is there?
Sure.
I want to come back to those handouts, but
Okay.
if you want to continue.
Okay. So basically, in the sprints before the board this evening to request a special permit for the change out of this equipment at the site. And, we're trying to, keep this as, minimal as possible. Again, we want to work within our existing footprint. We're swapping the existing equipment. And lastly, we do have, drawings here as well, if there's, I know I sent those with the application. But the photo sims will also show a representation of that, nothing on the outside will be changing, and that the RF plot that our RF engineer did shows that, there's two things with that. One of it is the existing coverage as it stands now and what the proposed coverage will be, and this antenna swap out will help improve the coverage in that neighborhood of Princeton Boulevard and the surrounding streets in Lowell. So this is the purpose of the antenna upgrade.
So is the purpose of the replacement, you mentioned about the coverage maps, which again, I don't have in front of me. Is there any change to the coverage that you're proposing, or is this just a maintenance, or the equipment is old and needs to be replaced?
That, and also it's meant to improve the coverage, so there won't be any lesser coverage, so to speak. What's there now will still maintain, and actually the newer antennas will be able to help support any areas that may not have been as strong.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add?
No.
Okay. I'm going to open it up to the public at this point.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone here that'd like to speak in opposition to this petition, in opposition?
We have a few people that would like to speak that hold various positions at the church. I'd like Mr. Zacharoulis to come up and speak first.
Let's relay the foundation first? Yeah. Look at relay the foundation. Good evening.
Yes, sir.
I'm here to ask you to,
Sir, could you have your name and address, please?
pardon, George Kalis, 15 Green Valley Drive, Chelmsford, Mass.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'm here to request that you postpone the Sprint's request. And the main reason for that is that the lease that we have with them, the contracted lease that was registered at the Registry of Deeds, doesn't match the one that we have. So until we are able to rectify this, I see no reason to be voting on anything that might not even materialize.
Okay.
If you'd like to see a copy of them,
Copy of the lease?
yeah,
Sure.
just to show the, yeah. Let me see.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
As you can see on page 1, things have been crossed out and marked on the deed, the one that was registered at the deeds. It was crossed out, marked. Same thing on the bottom, they had asterisks and something was marked. There's no initials there, we don't know who did what.
Okay.
And the biggest part of it is the second page. You see terms, item number 4. You'll notice where the registered one says, "The agreement and easement shall be perpetual, commencing on the effective date." The original one said, "This term and the agreement and the easement shall be commencing on the effective date." So perpetual wasn't in there. Another thing is, on the registered one, I have it circled up on top,
Yep.
where it says terms of this agreement. And it also states that on page 3, during the terms of this agreement. The reason I mark those is, if something's perpetual, then there is no terms of this agreement. It doesn't make sense. This one didn't make sense, it was registered. This one makes the sense, the original one that we had. And that's basically where we're at.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else like to speak in opposition? Opposition? Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is John Caveos. I live at 1 Devonshire Crossing in Lowell, Mass. I'm representing the treasurer. I am the treasurer at St. George's Greek Church. To fill in the blanks, basically, I have some numbers here that represent similar numbers that you have in your contract. I took over the treasurership about 2 years ago, and the reason I'm opposed to this is because the church Sprint came and proposed having this tower in the church for us. We verified it wasn't a safety risk or health risk or anything like that. And we needed church repairs to the roof, which we went before you guys and you approved. And this was back in 2004. They gave us approximately $100,000. We fixed our roof for somewhere in the vicinity of $70,000 to $80,000. And currently, that money that they gave us, and according to our agreement, brought them up to date till 2008, which was a year before I took office. Currently, they have not paid us anything since then, and we were trying to keep our bargain of the agreement. And to date, the reason something I wanted to bring to your attention was there's the past 4 tax bills have not been paid only because we don't have the money coming in from them. So the rental money that we allow them to build has not come to the church in accordance to the agreement that you have in front of you and our agreement back when they installed the towers. So as a treasurer for the church, I wish that you guys consider not approving this for 2 reasons. One is because they didn't agree with the contract, and we're going to pursue them legally and try to get them evicted out of there if they don't keep up with their part of the agreement. And second, because if someone owns a house that doesn't pay their taxes, which I have 2 tax bills here from the city of Lowell, they shouldn't be allowed to have, continue upgrading their stuff and just doing their, just kind of doing whatever they want without really playing within the rules of the city government or their quote-unquote landlord, which we all represent. And again, this is a volunteer position for me that, I'm an active member. I try to go to church as much as I can. I try to go almost every Sunday, and I just want to impose upon you guys, they want to upgrade the equipment, and they wanted to do this without making any payments to the church to help us out. So all we're asking for them to do is do that. The gentleman, pleasant gentleman that spoke earlier, he's a nice guy. He came to us. We said what we needed to do. And basically, we got a phone call afterwards that said, forget about it. We're not doing anything. So we have a big disagreement. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention when you're making your decision.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak in opposition? Opposition? Yes, sir.
George Zaharoulis, 15 Dabby Way, Lowell, Mass. I'm opposed to this petition being presented at this time because these people haven't sat down in good faith to discuss anything with us. We had one meeting with them, as far as I know, and it wasn't resolved. You heard that a telephone call was made. We are reasonable people. We want to know where we stand. We want to know what they're doing. If they're going to reconstruct or change things, then I think we should know about it, because if they're going to change a historical structure, and now St. George's Church is a historical structure, if they're going to change something inside, I think we should know about it. We should know more about what they're telling us that they're going to do. We should understand it a little bit better. And as the treasurer indicated, they have failed to make good on some of their payments. This was an agreement that was made almost 11 years ago, and they haven't done the job. We would appreciate that if the board would postpone this until we could sit down with them to discuss it, to go over it, and come up with some kind of solution to it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak in opposition? Opposition?
Ken Harkins, 110 Bigelow Street.
Yes, sir.
Member of the church. I'm against it, Mr. Chairman, because they haven't played fair with us, and we believe in a fair play. We could have an agreement. You could say, go ahead and do it, and legally they could be thrown out, and then where are we at? So we ask you not to give them any permission to come in and do something that they haven't cleared legally with us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak in opposition?
I'm Reverend Ernest Coloris at 7 Kybird Drive in North Chelmsford. I'm also the pastor and priest at the St. George Greek Orthodox Church. I was assigned there approximately 10 years ago, and this is after the agreement was made with Sprint. I was very disappointed to see that the money that was allocated is insufficient for the expenses that we have incurred at the church regarding electricity and heating, and also maintaining the structure, the tower that had to be maintained by expending thousands of dollars to keep this in good stead. I don't know if this agreement was made to concur with the church bylaws, and I think it was illegal in that the parish assembly was not given approval, or the archdiocesan bylaws were not adhered to for this agreement. And I don't know if the agreement was notarized or not. Our church is in need of funding for many expenses that we incur on a weekly and monthly basis and yearly basis, and it would be appropriate for us if we had some kind of income from Sprint, which is a multi-million-dollar or billion-dollar organization, and we are paying for a lot of the maintenance of the tower. I think we spend thousands and thousands of dollars to maintain the tower. And I don't know why this agreement was made in perpetuity and incurring all the coming parish council members in the future. And I don't know if Sprint has also affiliated with other companies, and I don't know whether this is legal, whether this makes our agreement that was made previously 11 years ago null and void. Also, we are a National Historic Site, and I'm just wondering whether this causes any difficulty with our National Historic Agreement. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak in opposition? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, fellow councilors. My name is James Coloris. I reside at 54 Sydney Street, Lowell, Massachusetts. I am now the new Parish Council President of St. George's Greek Orthodox Church. There won't be too much for me to add other than the fact that the contracts that we have are full of ambiguities up and down throughout this situation here. There's monies that have been owed the church for the last going on 4 years right now. We asked a gentleman to sit down with us, to speak with us. We thought we were going to move in that direction, and a day or two later, we got a phone call, no, we don't want to discuss it. We're going to go with the contract as is, and that's why we have the whole board of the St. George pretty much in attendance here, and other people here to refute this, and at least be able to sit down with our representatives and their representatives and come to some kind of agreement going forward here. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak in opposition? In opposition? Opposition? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone here like to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Going to open it up to, no, before I do that, yes, sir. So based on some of the comments that were just made, can you, do you have anything you'd like to address
Yes,
with
I
those?
do. I did meet with the church a couple weeks ago, and I did listen to their concerns, which, you know, I wanted to take note of. The church has entered into an agreement with a management company called Unison, which, as they had mentioned, this was a recorded agreement.
Yep.
That's between Unison and the church. And basically, Unison was the party that agreed to pay, you know, the church, you know, going forward from 11th of August, 2004. Now, from a Sprint perspective, although we have our equipment there, we can't really go any further on this agreement based on the fact that this agreement's now between Unison and the church, and our agreement is between us as Sprint and Unison, and Sprint is not paying rent to the landlord because Unison took over that aspect of the lease. So what I need to call to the attention of the abutters is that in order for them to receive any sort of, as you would call, dispute resolution on Section 16 of the lease, and it says in A, if Unison fails to perform any of its obligations under this agreement, site owner, being the church, agrees to notify Unison and any secured parties in writing of any default by Unison, and to give Unison or any secured parties the right to cure any default within a period of not less than 60 days from Unison's receipt of the written default notice. Now, I know someone had mentioned that they had called and, you know, they didn't get anywhere, but I hadn't heard back from them stating that, you know, this was an issue. But from a Sprint perspective, I mean, this is more or less out of our hands. Our agreement is with Unison to co-locate our equipment on that site. If they're behind on taxes, which is actually something else I brought up to one of the board members, if they could share their tax bills with the city, if they could share their tax bills with Sprint by contacting the landlord relations hotline, which, you know, I'd given the gentleman, they could be reimbursed for that. So, I mean, there is that option, so they don't have to keep taking that out of their budget, so to speak. But there's very little that Sprint can do between the relationship between Unison and the landlord that, I mean, basically, I mean, our, you know, we have the right to have our equipment there, and now the landlord is interfacing with Unison in terms of the Unison managing the site.
So you have a signed agreement with Unison?
Yes.
And then the church has an agreement with Unison?
Yes.
Okay. Sprint does not have a direct agreement with the church? That's what you're trying to say?
We originally did back in 2000.
Okay.
And then in 2004, Unison came along.
Okay.
But in essence, I mean, the agreement from 2000 is still the, you know, underlying agreement in terms of, you know, what we have there for equipment, and that the monetary aspect of it now lies with Unison and what their lease agreement says.
Okay. Question to DPD. I don't know if this is going down the road of a legal issue, but do you have any comments in regards to what's before us right at this point?
Well, all we have is the original lease from 2000 with the application, so I'm really unaware of the current lease arrangement. Other than that, the Sprint can apply as the leasee, is the one leasing, or the leaser, excuse me. However, it needs to be determined, or should be determined, that they actually have, contractual right to the space. But we haven't reviewed the contracts to that detail. It looks like they do from what we have in 2000, but apparently we don't have the latest, the lease agreement. So, and as far as the taxes, usually we would review that, but
Correct.
and
Yep.
didn't see anything, but we can take another look at that before we go any further. But didn't see any issues with that when we received the application.
Right. Generally, we would receive some type of documentation from the city assessor's office, correct?
Yeah, treasurer's office that
Treasurer's,
would
I'm sorry.
review
Yeah.
whether or not there's
That all
a-
taxes
it's
were
tax-
paid to
has any
date.
taxes or fees or anything like that.
And I'm going to assume the church would be the holder of that. Now, does the church pays taxes on the building? No, that's okay. I'm just kind of speaking out loud. Yeah, I don't want to go down a lot of different roads here.
The church doesn't pay taxes. The part of the church, which is the tower, does, and it's called 40.T, and that's what I do have here.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You have letters too.
Yep. Okay. All right. So back to, you said in the application, we're dealing with the lease that was signed in the year 2000.
Yep,
That's
correct.
what was submitted with the plan, the
That's
plans
correct.
that Sprint submitted. Yep.
Correct.
Okay, so subsequent, or after the fact, some other agreements went down that we don't have before us.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add, sir, at this point?
I mean, basically, what, just looking over some of the notes that I took, yes, I mean, the taxes, they should share those bills with Sprint if they're getting taxed on the equipment, and, I mean, the lease is the lease. I mean, from a Sprint perspective, I mean, we're within our lease rights, and so they need to work with Unison if they have a dispute, and it's part of this easement and assignment agreement they signed on 11th day of August 2004 regarding their issues.
Okay, anything else you'd like to add?
That's all.
Okay, thank you. Corey
Yeah,
has a question.
While you're at the podium, so basically you're saying that you've lived up to your obligations to the lease with Unison. So
Yep.
the church's complaint is with them. You've done everything, you lived up to all your obligations. Is that what you're telling the board?
That's right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to the board at this point, sir. Okay. Kevin, any questions or comments?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I really don't know where we go with this. I would recommend that we'd have to continue based on clarifying some of these issues. We would just handle leases that from what I'm reading, are signed by Sprint Spectrum LP and the church. So obviously, there's some binding agreements there. I don't understand if this is a sublease or if, I don't even know who Unison is, other than seeing that word once in the lease that was just handed to us. So I don't have issues with the upgrade of the equipment, but I think there's some clarification that needs to happen from the legality of the current lease situation before we can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, as I review both documents submitted tonight, with changes and signatures of the church members and Sprint, it appears to me as well as this is some type of sublet agreement, and begins to delve into perhaps a third-party contract, which I believe becomes a legal issue. So my recommendation would have the parties involved, be it Unison, Sprint, and the church, clarify those issues and clarify these documents in plain view for us in retrospect to make any decision as it relates to the upgrades of the tower itself, because the primary focus is the documents that were presented to us tonight. So based on that information just being given tonight and being quite gray at this point, not having the amount of time to read through it all, I'm not prepared to make any informative decision at this time.
Thank you, Gary. Vesna.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the original lease between the Sprint and the church was in 2000, is that correct?
Yes,
And from 2000 to 2004, you pay up all the rent basically to the church directly, is that correct?
well, just to clarify, Unison in 2004 came on the,
Well, I'm not talking about 2004, I'm talking about 2000, from 2000 to 2004. Had the Sprint been paying the church?
yes.
Okay. What happened in 2004 that Unison came about, the company?
From what I understand, Unison had approached the church offering to manage the steeple site, and basically what Unison does is they pay like a lump sum to the landlords
I see.
to, some landlords like that because it's a higher amount of money versus the standard monthly payments that Sprint pay out.
Right. Is that when Unison paid the church, I believe the amount I heard earlier was $100,000 to
Yes,
upkeep the church?
Yes.
The steeple?
yes,
Right. So Unison would have in 2004 another agreement, more or less with the church? Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. And was Sprint a party of that at all, or has Sprint reviewed that agreement?
basically, I got a copy of it 2 weeks ago, and I did send it to them.
So Sprint never reviewed that agreement?
I'm sure they did, but I wasn't aware of it until I met with the church, so
Okay. And Sprint has been up to date in terms of payment to Unison from 2004 to now?
my understanding is yes, they are.
And Unison has been delinquent in tax to the city, is that correct? Or if you know of?
Well, basically, the way the lease reads, I'm just quoting this from Section 7 of the lease, site owner acknowledges that a portion of the purchase price delivered by Unison to site owner is for in consideration of the continuing obligation of site owner to pay on or before the due date all present and future real property taxes attributable to the property, regardless of the party to whom such taxes are billed. And then it says, within 10 days of receiving a request from Unison, site owner shall furnish to Unison a copy of each bill for such taxes and evidence of site owner's payment of such bill.
But Unison hasn't paid
No.
taxes the last, 2 years? 4 years.
Right.
Well, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, this petition shouldn't be here in the first place. When you're delinquent, if you have a petition coming to have their house expand or their businesses open, if they're delinquent in their taxes, we wouldn't listen to that. It wouldn't be here. It wouldn't sit here before us.
Well, when I filed this, according to the assessor's department, the taxes were current, so I wasn't made aware of that till
The tax
a
was
couple weeks ago.
current probably because the church, we don't tax the church, but we taxes the company and Unison in this case. who's
Well,
the
I filed
middleman.
this as 40.T Princeton Boulevard, which from what I understand, the .T is the tax exempt property, but I did file this application on behalf of Sprint, and this was not made aware that there was any delinquent taxes at the time.
You know, I do concur with my fellow board members that I have no problem with this new antenna to upgrade it.
Yes.
But what I do have problem with is that there's some sort of legal issues here that it shouldn't come before this board. And as a board members, I'm not prepared to vote on this project until all parties sit down and come to some sort of agreement before, you bring back to this board. And yes, if you have some sort of agreement and all parties happy with it, I'd be more than happy to vote on the antenna, the upgrade of it. For now, Mr. Chairman, I'm not prepared to vote on it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vesna. Corey.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chairman. Now, so as far as the antennas go, you're not doing anything to the integrity of the church, outside or the interior, correct? Everything remains the same, you're just replacing existing antennas with new antennas, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so, well, I mean, it sounds like the representatives from the church don't seem to have, no one mentioned anything about having a problem with the antennas. Apparently it's a lease issue here. And, you know, the vice chairman makes a good point. If the taxes are current, you shouldn't be able to be here, and they usually catch that, so, but some
Right.
reason you're here, so this is a complex issue. You know, Mr. Chairman, so are we getting out of this board's scope of authority to getting involved in this leasing agreement? Are we able to continue it, I guess is what I'm asking, so this gets resolved? Because I know I want the city of Lowell to get their tax money, and I want to see the church get their money as well.
I guess I'll give you my answer after Dennis speaks.
Okay.
I mean, if I may add, I mean, you know, as a condition of, you know, approval, I mean, you know, I'm willing to continue to have Unison pursue these issues with the church and, you know, see that they're resolved. But, I mean, I'm here from a zoning perspective to get approved for a special permit. You know, the leasing issue is out of my realm. I mean, Sprint, you know, signed a lease with the church in 2000, and Unison came in, and, I mean, I'd like to add, if you know, Unison is having issues with the church or vice versa, then, you know, this is something they need to pursue.
Well, you're absolutely certain that Sprint is current with Unison?
That is correct. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be allowed to move forward with this. I mean, that's just how it works. I mean, we're reporting to them, and then Unison's managing the site for the church.
Okay, well, I'd be anxious to hear from some of the representatives from the church, once the board gets done speaking, how they've been out, you know, why they're not targeting the management company. If you claim, you know, you're up to date, you lived up to your obligations, it appears their argument is not with you. We'll let the rest of the board speak, and I'm anxious to hear from some of the church representatives again. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. Dennis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can understand the church's interest in getting this thing resolved. It does seem like a financial hardship for them to be bearing for the sake of the community and Sprint's profit to gain by the upgrade for the antennas. And I think using this leverage as a way of resolving this issue is warranted. And I think that a continuation until we can get a spokesperson from Unison to understand where things stand and why there's this discrepancy, and get this resolved. So I favor a continuance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Well, based on everything that I've heard so far at this point, I'm in agreement with at least a couple of the board members that I think we need to definitely continue this based on, first of all, the opposition that showed up from the church. I think they have some valid points. I also think that, and I'll address this through you, Aaron, I would like to have the legal department just take a look at this based on some of the things that have been talked about here tonight. I'd like to get their review and understanding of what we as a board need to be involved with or not involved with. I don't think we're sitting here to get involved with legalities and what was signed and not signed in lease agreements. I really don't want to go down that road, especially tonight. So I'd like to have a review by the City Law Department in regards to this petition. I do understand what you're saying, sir, and why you're here tonight and what you're representing, but I firmly believe we need to continue this.
Okay.
To be fair to all parties. So with that, does anybody else have any other comments in regards to that? Because I believe that's the biggest hurdle here right now. I also agree with the board members as far as the upgrade that you're trying to do and what the intent is. But I think we need to get a clear understanding of the lease agreement and 2000 and 2004, what's valid and what we can actually vote on, so that we're addressing it with the correct parties.
Okay.
So with that said, I would ask for a continuance, and
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we only have one meeting in
Right, well,
December.
My
Is that gonna be enough-
suggestion is, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Is that going to be enough time, I guess is what I'm
No,
asking?
I don't believe it is.
I don't
I
think
would
so
like to move it to the January 9th, 2012, if I have the correct, Aaron or Joe, is this the new handout for 2012?
This is a draft, so
Oh, I'm
give you a
sorry.
chance to the board to approve it tonight or next month, but that's.
It's January 9th?
Everybody's on the board right now is seeing it as a problem date, it's pretty assured that the January 9th would be available.
Are those the submittal dates or those the board meeting dates?
This is meeting
The
date.
board meeting date would be January 9th.
January 9th, okay. Okay, with that being said, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to continue till January the 9th, 2012.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Continue to January 9th, 2012.
Mr. Belanger?
Continue.
Mr. Ahern?
Continue.
Mr. Noon?
Continue.
Mr. Parent?
Continued.
So, sir, that's been continued to January 9th, 2012, and for everyone that's in attendance, the next meeting in regards to this petition will be January 9th, 2012. There won't be any further public notice, so if you plan on attending, please be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Everybody wanted to speak, but we all thank you for your time.
Okay, next matter before us is ZB 2011-51. The petition is a special permit under telecommunications. The applicant is Sprint PCS. Property located at 900 Chelmsford Street, and the petition is to add 2 additional antennas, 9 radio head units, and 1 BTS cabinet at ground within lease area pursuant to section 7.6 of the zoning ordinance. Yes, sir.
Good evening. Eric Callio again with Sprint. And I come before the board this evening to talk about Sprint's antenna upgrade at 900 Chelmsford Street in Lowell. And this is the Crosspoint Towers building. And what we're proposing here with this site is to remove the existing 4 antennas and add 6 network vision antennas along with 9 remote radio heads. And we're also looking to swap our equipment cabinets with a new equipment cabinet. And there was a question that came up about the cabinet will be in the lease area or on the ground, while the plans provided seem to indicate that the cabinet will be on the top of Crosspoint Tower. And to answer that question for clarity, the equipment cabinet will actually be on the top of Crosspoint Tower, so it will not be installed at ground level. So I just wanted to clarify that per the plans that were submitted. Also, it was asked that photo simulations are submitted along with RF radio plots, which I did bring with me this evening.
Yes, if I could, if you have an extra copy, please. Okay, thank you, sir.
So the proposed equipment per the photo simulations, basically, the antenna equipment is similar to what's there now, so it would not be visually obtrusive from someone, standing from those vantage points. And, it should blend in with the existing architecture. And then the RF coverage plots show, what's existing in terms of the coverage and then what the proposed coverage is. And again, this upgrade of antennas is meant to not only maintain, but, help the coverage that's been proposed by the new equipment.
As I asked on the other petition, same coverage?
Yes.
Okay. And again, it's a changing existing equipment with,
Yes.
okay. Anything else you'd like to add for this one?
I'm open for any questions.
Okay. Well, I think at this point I'm going to open it up to the public. Okay. Anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone here that'd like to speak in opposition? In opposition? Opposition? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. I'm going to open up to the board. Kevin?
I have no comments, Mr. Chairman. Seems like a technology upgrade that is probably needed for their use, so thank you.
Thank you. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, just one question to the petitioners. It relates to the cabinets.
Yes.
You just cited the plans have changed from ground level to rooftop level?
No, the existing cabinet's already on the rooftop, so there's nothing on the ground, and the proposed cabinet will go in the same spot.
Now, is it, they're gonna be the same type structure cabinet as far as composite material?
Yes.
So it's gonna be secured?
That's right, it'll be
It's
locked.
gonna be a full lockout system in place and the like?
That's right.
Okay. That's the only question I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. Vesna?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the right location for this antenna, and I'm in support of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vesna. Corey?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Mr. Noon. All the equipment's on top of the roof, and I wish they could all be like this in a location like this, so I do support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Dennis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree, this makes a lot of sense. I just have one question. Who manages this for you? Is Unison involved in this one as well?
They are not.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
No further questions.
Okay, I'm in agreement with the rest of the board members. I guess this would be an ideal site for a lot of these co-locations and antennas. And with that said, Secretary?
Make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a roll call?
Mr. Bailey?
Approved.
Mr. Belanger?
Approve.
Mr. Ahern?
Approve.
Mr. Noon?
Approved.
Mr. Parent?
Approve.
Okay, sir, you've been approved for 900 Chelmsford Street. Next petition before us is ZB 2011-52. This is a special permit under telecommunications. The applicant is Sprint PCS, property located 179 Gorham Street. The petition is to add one additional antenna to existing array, 12 radio head units, and replace one BTS cabinet with new one. Pursuant to section 7.6 of the zoning ordinance. Would you like to talk about this one, sir?
Yes, good evening. Eric Callio again with Sprint, and I'm here this evening to represent Sprint at the 179 Gorham Street site. And again, what we're looking to do is swap our existing equipment. We're going to be removing the existing 6 antennas for 6 new network vision antennas along with 12 remote radio heads. And we're going to be replacing the equipment cabinet on top of the building. And along with me this evening are also some photo simulations along with an RF coverage map to show, what the proposed equipment would look like. And I can hand this up if you'd like.
Yes, sir.
The photo simulations, again, represent, what the equipment will look like after it's installed, and, it's going to be, visually unobtrusive, and, it'll match the existing architecture. Also, the RF radio plots that I provided show, what the existing coverage is and what the proposed coverage will be. And again, this will help maintain, if not help improve, the coverage with the new antennas.
Now, are the changes on multiple building sites, or is it just one building site?
Let me just take a look at my drawings here again, just so I... Page A1 of the roof plan of the drawings, it does look like all one building. It's like a cross, and basically at the top are, what the proposed equipment locations are. If you look at A1 again on the drawings, the antenna layout is like it's an antenna layout plan, but the roof plan on the left shows not only, well, really what the roof plan shows is, what the, equipment cabinet information is going to be.
So the change out is only on one of the buildings?
The 179 Gorham Street, the Bishop Markham Village building.
Okay. Does Sprint have any other equipment on any of the other buildings, to your knowledge?
No, this is the one that we have a lease on with the Lowell Housing Authority.
So this is the only site?
Right.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add, sir?
No.
Okay, thank you. Now open it up to the public. Anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Going to open up to the board. Kevin.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I just want to clarify, I assume before this comes before us, it's already approved by the Housing Authority before you're changing out antennas and things on their property?
That's right, yeah.
Pick that assumption, but I would assume that is. Other than that, I have no comments, same as the last property. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Gary.
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Vesna?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The same comment I had before. This is not better than the proposed project on site on 900 Chelmsford Street, but at least it's better than the church, I guess, for the time being. So I'm in support of this.
Okay, thank you, Vesna. Corey.
Yes, to you, Mr. Chairman. So again, on this one, equipment and all the antennas on top of the roof?
Yes.
Same situation, yeah, okay. I do support it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Corey. Dennis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree. I think this is a great opportunity for us to improve service, and I think this is a great location, so I support it.
Okay, I guess the only thing I'll ask at this point, Kevin had asked about, the Lowell housing being an approval, and I know in the documents that were submitted, it looks like this lease was signed back in 2000 also?
Yes.
Okay. And the lease, what's the lease term on this? How many years is this one?
This one is a 5-year initial term with 4 5-year renewals.
Okay. But there was no submittal of the renewals, correct?
I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean by that.
You said it's a 5-year renewable, is that what it is?
Right, there's an initial 5-year term that would have went from 2000 to 2005, and then the renewal terms automatically renew.
Okay.
So there's 4 occasions of
All right.
5-year renewal terms, so they're working on their 3rd.
Because I know the executive director's changed, and I didn't see anything since 2000, that's why I'm,
Okay.
just to follow up to Kevin's comment, so. Okay, yeah, I'm in agreement with the rest of the board. Mr. Clerk, do you have make a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I have a second.
Second.
I have a roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Approved?
Mr. Belanger?
Approve.
Mr. Ahern?
Approve.
Mr. Noon?
Approve.
Mr. Parent?
Approve.
Okay, sir, you've been approved, and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Good night.
Okay, the next matter before us is ZB 2011-53. The petition is for a variance. The applicant is Richard Prolu. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Property is located at 82 Wollaston Street, and the petition is to construct an addition without the proper rear yard setback pursuant to sections 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. Yes, sir. Could you pronounce your last name just so I don't...
Pro. Richard Pro.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Closer.
Sorry if I butchered that.
No, that's okay.
Okay. You want to tell us about your petition, sir?
Sure, my name is Richard Prue. I'm the homeowner of 82 Wallison Street. I'm just looking to add an addition in the rear back of my house. I have a ranch house right now. I'm just add on one extra room by 20 into 19. And I'm just looking for a variance from the board.
Can you describe the room you're putting on, why you're putting it on, and what you
Sure.
plan on doing with it?
I'm a single dad and I have a 5-year-old son.
Yep.
I have no other area that I can't build up because I can't afford it. So I figured I could build out and build a family room for my son and myself. So I decided to put in for an addition to build out in the back of the, going through the kitchen to the back of the yard for a living room. Just a bigger living room for me and my son. That's all I'm asking for. I do have a couple of things I added that the city requested, and I have it today. The person in back of me is a real good friend of mine. She did sign today also, and she's not here tonight because she didn't want to.
Sure.
But I do have that petition right here also, if you wanted to see it.
Yes, if you have a copy of what was signed by your
Yep.
neighbor, that'd be great. Thank you.
Other things the board asked also.
Sure.
Just elevation,
Yep.
elevation.
Great.
That's my comment.
Great, thank you. Okay, so what's been submitted is a signed statement from Mitzi McGee at 81 Featherston Avenue, which is your neighbor directly behind you, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay.
And then I had another one that was signed by the sides also.
Yep, we received
Okay.
a copy of that, and you also submitted at the request of DPD was the proposed exterior elevations, and did you receive a copy of these also? Aaron, I'm sorry.
Not as of yet, no.
I'm sorry?
Not as of yet.
Okay. Would you like one of the extra copies that he has to take a look at?
When you're done with them, we should have them for the record, yes.
Okay, all right. Do you need to look at these at all before we act on anything?
If you would like us to comment on them, we could. But
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if you were given a copy.
Mr. Chairman, can I speak on that?
Sure.
I actually did send an email to someone who works for the city, and they told me to bring the plans tonight.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, great. You know, when you're chairman, not everybody talks to you all the time, so. I'm always the last one. Okay, so you did receive the comments that came back from DPD, and so you've addressed a couple of those. Okay, so submittal requirements. Okay, elevation you addressed. Aaron or Joe, just to your comment here about the application package, is there anything at this point that has not been submitted that should have been submitted for the minimum submittal requirements?
I think there was another element, or another, in the bullet list of pieces missing from the application package is there's data that is supposed to be provided in the site plan that is not included, such as the topography lines, base elevation of the building, top elevation of the building, et cetera. There's a number of them that are missing, so that we don't have a revised site plan for that as of yet.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any comments to that?
I have no comment. I got what the land survey gave me, and that's all he said, this is all I should need, and that's why I have no comments, sir.
Okay. Okay. And I see the planning board voted recommended a denial of this. Were you aware of that?
I was when I got the email.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yep, okay. Okay, anything else you want to add at this point?
No, I'm just a single dad looking to add on one existing area. I have the smallest house on the street, so I'm just trying to add on one existing,
Sure.
and I love the community and love the neighborhood. I just don't want to move if I can't build up. I mean, I can't afford it, so I'm just trying to add on one extra room.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, thank you. Going to open it up to the public. Is anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Going to open it up to the board. Kevin?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'm just looking at some of the pictures to prove that these are, that's the neighbor's house behind you, I think?
Yes.
Okay, so the trough that's dug in is basically where the house, where the addition would end? Is that what that represents?
It's like, it would end like 6 feet before that.
Okay, so that's the property line?
Yes, sir.
I'm just trying to understand what, I didn't know what you were doing with the trough. So.
Bad picture, I'm sorry, I apologize.
And it's a single elevation I saw from the elevation views. I don't have any major concerns with it. If the neighborhood is in full support of it, it seems like all your abutting neighbors all signed off. Nobody's here saying anything against it. I know the area fairly well. It is a lot of ranches down there. They're not really built for families. They do need some additional space based on families now. So that being said, I don't have any concerns with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Just as it relates to the photo sims you submitted tonight, the existing rock wall, will that, is that on your property? If I'm looking,
The one way up,
yeah, the one you went up to the left.
that's their property?
That's their property line?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
And the one to the one that's to the right, as I'm facing the rear, portion of that's on your property, and portion that it's a shared old rock wall.
Correct.
Is that going to be remaining
Yes.
there for drainage and elevation?
Yes. Yeah, nothing of that is being touched at all.
Okay, all right. Other than that, I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Gary. Vesna?
Thank you, sir. I do have a question for Aaron, sir, if I may. The site plans that were submitted by the petitioner in this case, does not, as you indicated, Aaron, have no data on it. Is that usually the case that they need to submit a site plan with some sort of data for us in order to have a complete?
Yeah, so the section in the zoning ordinance that
Right.
lays out the process for the
Right,
for variances
11.2.4.
lists out a number of data elements that need to be part of a complete site plan application. And I just referenced off a couple off the top of my head that we're missing from this, but topography, which is not uncommon, but again, the elevation at the base and the height of the proposed building and elevation.
We probably haven't seen a site plan from this individual before, meaning that the people who do the site plan here submitted before us, they're probably not accustomed to what Lowell needed. Is that the case here?
That's possible. I'm not familiar with the civil engineer who stamped it, but that's not uncommon either. I mean, it's possible that they've worked in the past. But
would it be possible also to go back to the surveyor in this case, is to have him, submitted a complete one to per requirement for the inspector's office?
Yes, sir. I did actually go back to him with the specifics that I went down and got from the city of Lowell, and he told me he actually told me it would cost me $3,000 to $5,000 more on top of I'm not going to tell what I paid there, but I'm sure you know.
It's a big burden to you.
Yeah, and that's kind of the reason why I didn't do it, because
I think
it's almost an addition.
Right. Well, I looked at the DPD planning board recommendation. Their concern is very valid. However, you do have a letter from Ms. McGee, especially she's your direct abutter, and she's in support of it, and all the neighbors. And I understand that the city need to have some data, but here are citizens with a single income, and $3,000 more is going to put a lot of burden on the family. So, especially in Christmas season or the holiday season, I'm not prepared to send him back for a site plan that have data just so the surveyor can make $3,000 more. So, anyway. I'm in support of this, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Vesna. Corey.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chairman. I'm in agreement with my colleagues. We have a single dad here with a growing family, and he wants to stay in Lowell. I think he's done everything right. He's kept in contact with his abutters. They're in support. He's worked with planning and development. I think he's done everything that's asked of him, and I think it'll really enhance the neighborhood as well. So I do support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. Dennis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to point out one element here on the site plan from the zoning table that calls out that the addition would still be under the floor to area ratio of 0.35. I think it's stating it's, is that correct? 0.28 would be the total. So you'd still be, even with the addition, for some unknown reason, you'd still be under the floor to area ratio, which is pretty amazing. The topo map would tell us a lot, though, regarding from the photograph. It looks like the slope is significant, and it looks like you would have a basement, maybe a full basement under this?
No, sir. No basement or crawl space.
Does the backyard slope to the property line?
This way, no, it goes up.
It actually goes up.
Yes, sir. Their property goes down.
This is, I'm reading it as a slope down to the property line.
Their property's up and then goes down, and then my property line is down like this. Mine's all leveled.
Okay. I think it's a little difficult to do this in a vacuum, and I think the topo really explains it, especially when you're talking about a 6.5-foot dimension to the property line. The impact potentially on the neighbor, even though the neighbor's in agreement. I think that you have setbacks for a reason. Setbacks should be taken seriously. I agree that maybe they can be bent for certain hardships, and maybe 12 feet makes sense. 6.5 feet is a big change. It's a significant change from what's called for in zoning of 25 feet. So, maybe a half, maybe going to a 12-foot dimension versus 20 is there a reason why it's 20 feet?
Yes, sir, and that's a great question. Yeah, because the builder said if they have to cut the board, it's more expensive than it is getting a 20-foot. He said, because he said, if it was a 20-foot, we don't have to cut the boards, and the builders charge more if they cut the boards. So he said, why don't we just do a 20-foot? It's the same price. It's actually cheaper because we don't have to cut the boards on the addition. So I said, anything cheaper, I'm for it. So I just went with the suggestion of the builder.
Yeah, but it's at the peril of the zoning, of the setback change. I understand saving money is important. But I'd be more interested in seeing a compromise here. 6.5 feet seems like it's really tight to the property line. I'd be interested in seeing something more in the order of maybe a 12-foot dimension or something similar to the side yard that you have at 10 feet. But I'm a little surprised at 6.5. I think that's a very aggressive dimension. Even though the neighbors are in support, it's still a neighborhood. I know that there are very few properties in that neighborhood that are that close to the property line. So I'm a little surprised. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dennis. Yeah, some of the things Dennis was just talking about, I was also taking a look at. I was also taking a look at the elevations that you submitted tonight. So if I understand what I'm looking at, this side with the two windows, that'd be so if you come up your driveway, that'd be facing to the left, I guess, your neighbor to the left.
Correct, sir.
And the French doors would be leading back into the side, into your backyard. And this would be the rear? This is what the
That's
rear would look
correct.
like? Okay. So what Dennis is talking about, so you have a 6.5-foot clearance to your neighbor in back who also has signed off on this. You know, the shed you have that's in that left, I'll call it that left-hand corner, is that staying there? You plan on leaving that
Yes, sir.
there?
That was going to stay.
Okay. And you use that for storage? Is that?
Yeah, a lawnmower, snow blower.
Okay.
I actually use, my neighbor doesn't have a thing, and he puts it in his snow blower in there.
Yeah, the comment you made about, you know, the builder talking about 20-foot cost issue, I guess, since I've been on the board, that's the first time I ever heard that one. I kind of had the same question in regards to how the size was actually determined, because you do have a non-conforming lot to begin with. You have kind of a smaller lot.
Mm-hmm.
So adding this dimension on the back and just leaving it 6.5 feet, I was trying to actually figure out why you would do that. Why would you add an addition of that size on there? Not that I have anything wrong with the way it looks, but just to leave you 6.5 feet. So you're telling the board that if you have to decrease it the 20 feet, you're going to absorb some additional costs for that?
Absolutely. 100% confident that that's exactly what he told me. He said, if I had to cut the boards, you have to pay more for the contractor. And so I just went,
Now, do you plan on doing anything, is it just going to be grassed-in area all the way around the perimeter of the new addition?
yes, sir, I have a sprinkler system in there right now, and we're going to take half of it out because of the addition, and then the other half's going to be just grass.
Okay.
And then my neighbors were talking about putting up a fence. You know, all of us were going to pitch in, put up fences.
Yep. Well, I guess, you know, based on, I know none of the neighbors showed up here physically, but since they were willing to sign off, and I agree with Dennis's comment on the 6.5 feet, but I also put into consideration, you've been there since 2003.
Correct.
It sounds like you plan on staying, hopefully.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
if I get approved.
Yeah. No, I think what Dennis is trying to say, and I somewhat agree with him, the size of the addition somewhat doesn't belong on the back of that house, but in consideration with some of the things that you've brought before us tonight, especially around the cost, I mean, I'm willing to approve this. Did somebody else have like a condition on, did somebody else have a comment on a condition?
I don't believe so, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And I know it was also talked about the set of plans that were, you know, you didn't meet all the criteria, but $3,000 to $5,000, I mean, I don't know. I guess I can't even comment on that. Okay, if there's no, if there are no conditions anyone has, Mr. Clerk, you'd like to
Yep. Make a motion to approve.
I have a second?
Second.
I have a roll call?
Mr. Bailey?
Approved.
Mr. Belanger?
Approve.
Mr. Ahern?
Approve.
Mr. Noon?
Approve.
Mr. Perrin?
Approve.
Okay, sir, you've been approved. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I know. Can you, Counselor,
Hello, Mr. Prue? We need,
does he need to sign off? Do you want him to sign off on your plans there?
Yeah.
That's all right. I wasn't quick enough.
He's
on
a
that.
little excited, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next matter before us is ZB 2011-55. The petition is a special permit. The applicant is Town and Country Nursing Home, properly located at 259 Baldwin Street. And the petition is to extend an existing non-conforming structure and maintain an extension of an existing non-conforming use, licensed healthcare facility in a single-family zone, pursuant to section 4.5.2 of the zoning ordinance. Mr. Flood.
I'd just like to pass.
Sure. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for the record, James Flood, 549 Roger Street, Lowell, representing Town and Country Nursing Center LLC. They're of West Springfield, Mass. And with me tonight is the Chief Operating Officer, Steve Marcus, who's sitting here. My client does operate the Town and Country Nursing Home, which is located at 259 Baldwin Street, and we are asking a special permit for the extension of the non-conforming structure and an extension of the non-conforming use. The property is in fact zoned SSF, single family. A little bit of the history. The original nursing home was constructed many, many years ago before the property was zoned SSF by the Strazerio family. In 1989, I appeared before the City of Lowell Zoning Board of Appeals to request a special permit for an extension to the existing structure, and I've given you a copy of that decision that was approved in 1989.
Oh, you were on that long, huh?
Yeah, none of you guys were here then, too. The expansion was completed, and in 1999, my client purchased the property from Alex Strazerio and has been operating the nursing home since that date. In 2009, he made application to the City of Lowell Building Department for a building permit for two minor additions to the building. One was an addition to the conference room located in the rear of the building of approximately 370 square feet, and then an addition to the right-hand side of the building as you face it of 955 square feet to add 2 additional beds. City of Lowell Building Department issued him a building permit, and I've delivered to you tonight a copy of the occupancy permit issued by the City of Lowell Building Department in 2009. Because of my involvement in 1989, my office was contacted to render a zoning opinion pertaining to some new financing on the property. In discussing the matter with Mr. Marcus, it came to my attention that there was an addition in 2009 and no one had come in for a special permit because it was a non-conforming structure. He indicated that he went to the City of Lowell, no one mentioned it to him, and they just went through with the construction. The nursing home has been there for many years and has been a good citizen in the City of Lowell. As this board is aware, there is a need for quality health care for the seniors in the City of Lowell, and Town and Country Nursing Home helps address that need. The additions are minor and will not cause any additional traffic to the neighborhood. In addition, no additional parking is necessary because most of the residents don't drive anyway, so there's no need for additional parking. There's adequate utilities and public services available because it's been operating as a nursing home for many years. The addition to the front of the building is in the exact same line as the existing non-conforming structure, and although it's a minor setback issue, but it's always been there since the expansion back in 1989. As to the environment, the property is located adjacent to Black Brook, and they did submit to the Lowell Conservation Commission, an order of conditions was issued. Recently, I've also received a certificate of compliance indicating that the property was constructed in accordance with the plan. I noticed there was a comment, staff comment regarding some cupolas, or it said, I think it said roof, something pertaining to the roof. I think there's 3 cupolas that are located on the bank of the property along the Black Brook, and Mr. Marcus has assured me that they will be removed by tomorrow morning. And so we're here tonight to ask the board to find that the extension of both the non-conforming use and the non-conforming structure are not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than what is already there. So I'd ask that the special permit be granted.
Okay, so all the work has been completed.
Work has been completed and occupancy has been issued by the city of Lowell.
Okay. And so it never came before the board due to,
Usually the building department would say you would need a special permit, and that would lead someone to come to the board, and they didn't. They issued the building permit and they issued the occupancy permit.
Okay.
It was only when they spoke to me about a zoning opinion. I knew the history because I had done it before, and I said, I can't do that because you don't have a special permit. So you need it for these 2 additions.
Okay. So it's before us to basically grant the special permit?
Yeah.
In reflection of work completed and all
These
permits?
extensions are not more detrimental to the neighborhoods.
Okay. And one of the questions I had to DPD was in regards to the parking that's out back.
Mhm.
Do you have an actual count of parking spots out back, Mr.
Do you know how
Flip?
many are there, Steve? 42.
42,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because when I rode out there, it's not like I decided to count them all, but I was just curious in regards to the construction that was done, the requirements, what the requirements would have been for the parking. But you make a valid point about the residents. So are there any residents that live there that use the parking daily? Do they?
No.
Yeah.
No, most of them.
So it's for
They have
visitors?
wheelchairs.
Yeah, visitors or employees?
I think there's sufficient parking. There's never been a problem.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the building department would have issued the occupancy permit if there was a parking or traffic issue there.
Is there a sign on either end of the, I'll call it the driveway, that indicates is it a one-way, supposedly a one-way coming in there off of Westford Street?
It should be
I think
one way
there's a
off. It
white-
should be one way off from Westford Street to go out
I think
to
there's
Walnut.
an arrow or something in the pavement, but has there ever been any thought of putting up some type of sign just to, you know, obviously we haven't had a bunch of accidents there or something, but, you know what I mean?
Entrance only.
Because you could easily come off of Baldwin Street and pull in there and.
One way or something like that? Entrance only, one way?
Yeah, that's one thing that I noticed when I was
That's
out
not a
back
problem.
there, if we could add that, just as a minor condition to,
That's no problem whatsoever.
Yep.
You can put entrance only, so
sure,
you tell me what you want.
yeah. I'd like to see some type of signage on, I guess I'll call it both ends of that driveway.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add
Nope.
at this point? All right. I'll open it up to the public. Anyone here like to speak in favor of the, yes, Mr. Goldman?
Mr. Chairman, members of the zoning board of appeals, ladies and gentlemen. For the record, my name is Mark Goldman, 58 Oakland Street, Lowell, Mass. I wish we record in favor of this. I spoke on this originally way back in 1989. This facility has been there at least 50 years, since 1960. My mother had been a patient there in 1966 for a year. They took very good care of her, and I urge the board to, with the minor condition, to approve this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goldman. Anyone else like to speak in favor? In favor? Hearing none. That portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none. That portion of the public hearing is closed. I open it up to the board. Kevin?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I don't have any concerns with the building as it is. You made reference to a couple signs that I think might help out, just for clarification. I did note just one DPD comment, and you guys may have referenced it while I was reading something, just building materials on site being removed.
We will have those removed by tomorrow morning.
Other than that,
I
that's the
think
only...
there were 3 cupolas. Are there 3 went to Steve? Yeah.
Okay. Then that's fine by me. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Kevin. Gary?
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Vesna?
Well, I do concur with the condition you have requested and Kevin, and I also want to say that, you know, the work that the nursing home been doing for the elderly has been, you know, big help to the elderly communities in Lowell. Plus that also the conditions that you asking has already been done 3 years ago, and the occupancy permit was granted, and you just come back here and said, make it legal for me. So I'm more than be happy to vote for that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Corey?
I'm also in support of it, Mr. Chairman. I took a ride by there, and I think this is a good enhancement for elderly and senior citizens there, and I'm certainly not about to sit here and take it from them. So I think it's a great addition to the neighborhood and to the nursing home, so I do support it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Corey. Dennis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think if this construction hadn't been done, I think we'd be granting an approval anyway, because I think that this is a great neighbor and you do a great job over there, and I think we should be in support of this, even if it was done in the right sequence. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Yep, I concur with all my board members. Again, Mr. Clerk, condition I'd like to have is signage indicating, you know. So if you'd like to make a motion.
Make a motion with the following conditions: that the petition agrees to install signage on entrances and exits. And the second one, all construction debris and equipment be removed as well.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Approve with conditions.
Mr. Belanger?
Approve with conditions.
Mr. Ahern?
Approve.
Mr. Noon?
Approve.
Mr. Parent?
Approve with conditions.
Okay. Mr. Flood, you've been approved with conditions. Thank you. Our next matter before us is ZB 2011-57. This petition is a special permit. The applicant is Boot Mill Developer LLC. Property is located at 130 John Street. And the petition is to develop the remaining area of West Boot Mills, not previously developed, into 77 residential units pursuant to Article 12, Table of Uses. Mr. Flood.
Yeah, once again, I have, I think you might have some of this. For the record, James Flood, 549 Rogers Street, Lowell, representing Boot Mill Developer LLC. With me tonight is John Rodzinski, who is the developer, and Dick Baumer from Novus Engineering, who is our project engineer. So we're here tonight requesting a special permit to complete the renovation of the West Boot Mills into 77 residential units and approximately 43,000 square feet of commercial space. As most of you know, the Boot Cotton Mills are a very important landmark in the city of Lowell. Listed on both the national and state registers of historic places, included in the Lowell National Historic Park and Preservation District, and the Loxton Canals Historic District, and the Downtown Lowell Historic District. In March of 2004, this project was originally submitted to the Board of Appeals by Boot Cotton Mills 2 LLC. And the only member of this board that was here then was Mr. Belanger. He was sitting on the board then. The original plan presented by Mr. Barry was for 106 residential units and approximately 60,000 square feet of commercial space. As most of you know, the project got started and was never completed. Only 39 of the units originally planned were built and occupied. John has been working very closely with the City of Lowell for the past few months regarding the completion of the project. And in October of this year, he entered into a memorandum of understanding or agreement with the city pertaining to the reimbursement of the city of some of the funds that were lost on the prior development. So there is an agreement in place that John will explain that will help the city recoup the funds that were lost in some of the financing to Mr. Barry. The architectural design of the building will not change, and it's basically the same as it was approved in 2004. Final approval of anything architectural, however, has to be approved by the Lowell Historic Board, and we're about to appear, I think, in January there. We've been working closely with the National Park Service, and as I gave you tonight, there's a letter from Peter Osella supporting this project. The site plan, which we were in front of the planning board last Monday with, is basically the same. There is a courtyard for the entrance into the building, and there will be 4 parking spaces, one of which will be for handicapped people. It's not for overnight parking, it's for drop-off, pick-up, and, just short-term parking. John and I met with Chuck Carney of the parking department pertaining to parking for the residents, and I've given you a letter from Chuck indicating that there are 77 spaces available in the Downs garage, and he's also going to make 30 to 35 spaces available for commercial users if necessary.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
You said there's currently 39 units?
39 occupied right now.
Are they using the garage, to your knowledge?
Yes, they're all individually
Yep.
using the garage. There's no parking on site.
Right.
There's no
And
parking on that site.
Since I interrupted you with that, I'll just ask one other question. On the handicap parking, I know you mentioned it isn't the park there and stay overnight, but you said there's one spot for handicap?
One handicap, down in the courtyard.
So if you have a resident there that is handicapped?
The handicap person could park there, but that's all that's required.
Right.
It meets the requirements, so.
I guess, if there were 2 or greater,
Yeah.
what happens in that respect? Is that, I'm not trying to beat it up. When you made the comment about the one spot,
Yeah, so the number of handicap parking spaces are based on the number of total number of parking spaces provided, not required under the zoning code.
Yep.
So the one handicap parking space is required because there are some, but.
But I'm sure if there's someone there with a handicap plate, they could park in the other space and stay anyways. No one's going to tell them.
yeah. No, I just wanted to ask the question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
So, I think this is a very important project for the city of Lowell to have completed. There's not going to be any change. The neighborhood character is going to be the same because it's an existing building. There are existing people in there. The only comments that the planning board has, they want us to work with the present residents in the building to try to correct any deficiencies that might have come about from the original developer, and also to work with the fire department to make sure that the access is safe. The fire department did approve this back in 2004, and there should be no further problem. So I think most importantly, I think it's important to get this done so the city can try to recoup some of those funds that were lost, so.
Yep.
Did you have more questions?
Is there anything else you
John,
wanted to
I
show
think
us?
John wants to say a couple of words.
Sure.
Do you want to say a couple of words? You do? Yeah. He wants to
He didn't come to listen to you.
He wants to introduce himself.
Hi, it's John Rudzinski, Rosendale, Massachusetts. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to say how pleased we are to be before you, and we know how important this project is for the city. Attorney Flood mentioned the name of the entity. It's Boot Mill Developer LLC, and that is a partnership between my firm, Reese Larkin Development, and Wynn Development, which, of course, did the apartments at Boot Mills right across the driveway, and is well known in the city. So we have a good development team. The architect is the architectural team out of Chelsea. They've done several historic buildings up here. Nobis Engineering is the site engineer. So we have a good development team, and you know, we're basically excited to get this done. And I think I will emphasize that it became obvious to us right away that it was important to the city that we sit down with them and hammer out an agreement about what the financial, what this project would look like financially if we're successful. And so that was something that we negotiated and the city council approved back in October. So that's all I'll say, and I'll be happy to answer any other questions.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
And Dick's here if you have any engineering questions that you want addressed.
Well, with that said, I guess I have a couple of things I'll ask about to see if these might be around conditions. Historic board approval, any?
We have to get a historic board approval.
Yep.
We're due in January, I think, John?
Yeah, we anticipate January. We've met with
Steve.
Sol and group 3 or 4 times already. Had
Yep.
walked through the site. To be frank, there's one big issue that they have, and that's with the cooling tower that was placed on the existing development, and they placed it in a location that was not previously agreed to by the historic board, and they put it there anyway, and then they went bankrupt, so there's nothing they could do. So we agreed on the first meeting to move that. We do our renovations. Other than that, it's nothing controversial.
Okay. Conservation Commission, anything that's pending with them?
No, we have nothing pending at this point in time because the building is there, there's
Right.
people living in there, there's nothing that we're going to add to it. We did meet with Aaron, and there was no conservation issues came up.
I believe there is a need to submit a notice of intent to the Conservation Commission because of an outfall.
Oh, because, yep, we're going to submit a notice of intent to the Conservation Commission, right?
Yep, so you still need their approval?
Right.
Okay. Landscape plan, acceptance by DPD, is anything on a landscaping plan been?
That would all be through the historic, once again.
Okay.
We work with DPD, but historic has the final say in all the landscaping.
Yeah, that's correct. There was, in fact, the first time around when this project was approved, there was a fairly detailed landscape design, and it's really a hardscape. It'd be a bit of a misnomer to call it a landscape. And so that's essentially the discussions are that they would follow that original design while making sure to maintain the fire apparatus access. So there needs to be 18 feet to get into that, to get in that courtyard area. So that will all be approved, though, with the historic board.
Okay. City engineer had some comments.
No problem with them whatsoever. That's what we told the planning board. There was nothing major. We have to give a notice. And
What's that?
there was nothing major in her comments whatsoever.
Right. But I thought she made one comment about regarding number 4 on the DPD. Stormwater plan, final stormwater plan, reviewed and approved by the city engineer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's still to come up, is what I'm
Right.
saying. In other
Right.
words, I just want a condition, city engineer signs off and approves
Yeah.
everything that's still
No problem with
outstanding.
her comments. That's
Okay.
how we reported to the
I guess I
planning board.
misunderstood the way you were saying no problem.
We met with her. We met with her also with Aaron.
And then I see Frank Singleton didn't sign off, but Kendra Amaral did for the Board of Health, talking about a waste storage, solid waste storage that's within the building.
Within the building, yes.
And
It's existing.
right. And there didn't seem to be any issues with that. I guess the only concern, not concern, but if you guys decide to go to the outside, there's not going to be any trash pickup on the outside?
They'll wheel them out 3 times a week, but it'll be all accumulated inside.
Yeah.
They'll be picked up 3 times a week.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's all consolidated to
Right.
one area?
Inside.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm okay with that. And then the other, you had mentioned how you went before planning board, so we'll just, whatever conditions they placed, we'll just follow on with that. And I believe that's, snow removal, what's the plan for snow removal?
The same has been going on since Ed Barry was there. I mean, it's a courtyard, it's been plowed, they've had no problems, so they're just going to continue with where they've been doing it.
Okay. So that's, excuse me, that's handled by the management company?
Right.
They do?
Right. Be the same one that's doing the other mill. The wind development, they'll all work together to do it, but they've been doing it right along and there have been no problems.
Okay. And you addressed the parking, which I asked about, that's all set. And we have the sign off for Mr. Osella, so that was good. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add at this point? All right. Going to open it up to the public. Anyone here that'd like to speak in favor? In favor? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Zoning Board of Appeals, for the record, my name is Mark Goldman, 58 Oakland Street, Lowell, Mass. I spoke last week before the Planning Board in favor of this project. I am in favor of this project tonight and ask that you support it with whatever conditions the Planning Board issued and whatever other conditions you might ask for. This will be a great project to finish up the book mills. It's very important for the city, and I urge the approval. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Goldman. Anyone else like to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? Hearing none. Portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none. That portion of the public hearing is closed. I'll open it up to the board. Kevin?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, from my perspective, I think we're approving a solely needed proposal for the city. It's been approved once. I think it's time that it moves forward. I'm familiar with some of wind development, other redevelopments they've done adjacent to the arena and things like that, and they've all come out looking great. So I look forward to seeing that here as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I am in favor of this moving forward. I think it's a great use of the property. The developer has a proven track record in the city. In respect to maintaining the historic value of the mills is something as Lowellians we take very seriously, and I want to extend that courtesy to the petitioner as well. As it relates to the parking, in good faith, you made it clear you had some conversations with the parking garage, which will stimulate the economy even further. I think the project overall is something the city is in dire need of at this time. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Gary. Fesna?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too in favor of this petition, given that the petitioner would get the historical board approval, which is, I believe you indicated that January 2012, there'll be a meeting, and also that the petitioner comply with the conditions set forth by the DPD, the Department of Planning, the board, and as well as all the other department board, the city department. So I know that giving that Attorney Flood good working history with the cities, and those conditions will be followed as he indicated. I'm in favor of this petition. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Fesna. Corey?
Yes, to you, Mr. Chairman. This is very exciting. I know, as Mr. Flood stated, we approved this project a long time ago, and unfortunately, the economy took a turn for the worst, and the developer at the time went bankrupt, and it was unfortunate, but it appears to be reborn again, which is great. And wind development, where I'm established in business, has done many projects in my neighborhood, and they're a very, very solid builder, and they do a great job. So I'm very confident that they'll do a great job there. So it's got parking spaces allocated for it already, so I think it's a great project. I'm very excited to see it back on the table again. I support it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Corey. Dennis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to congratulate the group on a very thorough package of the submission. I think that guys have done an outstanding job. I just have a question. Any sustainable design elements that we're incorporating into this, previous pavers or anything at all that you could care to mention?
I couldn't hear you, Dennis.
Any sustainable design elements that you're incorporating into the new project here, previous pavers or anything of that nature?
For the record, Richard Balmer with Novus Engineering, 585 Middlesex Street. There's a limited amount of improvement that we can make in terms of maintaining compliance with what the Park Service is looking for, as well as the Historic Board. This particular drawing, what's in white here in the middle is the building. So here's John Street coming up. To the right is the finished piece. This is the new courtyard on the left. It's somewhat narrower than the existing courtyard or the entry courtyard on the other side. So we have limited ability relative to the fire lane and parking with what we can do there. There's a little bit of pavement removal that'll take place in a couple of the corners in that particular location. The most significant piece of sustainable design on the site side goes to the interior courtyard, where it is currently a completely impervious surface. There will be some replacement of that with pavers and a patio type of area, but we're also putting some landscaping in there that we're working with the Historic Board on the final design of that. So that will reduce some of the impervious footprint of the project in that respect. Relative to sustainable design on the inside of the building, Mr. Rosinski and the architect could certainly speak a little bit more specifically to that. But the energy use of the building in terms of windows, the heating and cooling systems and the hot water systems and the like are all being upgraded to a very high degree. I don't know if you want to say much more than that, but we're certainly going to be state of the art, I think, in this building in terms of sustainable design throughout, to the extent that we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess just the last question I'll have, Mr. Flood. Fire department, is there anything still outstanding with the fire department, or are you all set at this point?
They didn't respond to the planning board, but there has been some communication, I think, with Aaron. They wanted the 18-foot fire lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do have regular design review meetings with different city departments, and we have, the fire department was there, Captain Casey, who is the fire safety chief, noted that the access was important, and what was on the plan, what's shown on the plan in terms of access was adequate. So, we don't have anything in writing, but in discussions with them in our design review, the site plan, at least, is fine.
I think that's why the planning board put that as a condition of the approval, that we continue to work with the fire department.
Yep, okay. No, I know there was a mention about the
Yep.
fire department. The 77 units, are these all one bedroom, or are they
No,
two bedroom, or?
You have a breakdown, right?
Yeah, there'll be a mix for both design and market reasons. There'll be 34 one-bedroom units, 39 two-bedroom units, and 16, I think, is there, or 4 three-bedroom units. Hopefully that added up to 77.
Then you're also bringing in some commercial
Right.
space also, right?
About 40.
Would that be more conducive around maybe startups or small businesses, or is it?
I think
I know, I'm not trying to.
just hoping
Yeah.
that whatever gets in, whatever we can
Yeah.
find.
Well, again, I think this is one of those projects that lends itself for the downtown area, especially for small businesses. Hopefully, you know, we get the rental units in there, plus some small businesses. You know, it's a benefit for the
Nice
downtown
mix.
area that I know the city's trying to work hard on to develop, so. No, I think it's a great project. I don't think I need to say anything more about it, but Mr. Clerk, if you want to.
Yes, yep, I make a motion to approve with the following conditions: that the petitioner acquire historic board approval. Second, and the commissioner acquire conservation commission approval. And the petitioner acquire planning board approval. Are we missing any of the concerns from the board, Mr. Chairman? I don't think so.
City engineer, I think was the other one I wanted to include.
Okay.
Yep.
And includes approval from the city engineer's office as well.
Okay. Any other conditions? That's going to be covered with historical board, yeah. Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Have a roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Approved with conditions.
Mr. Belanger?
Approved with conditions.
Mr. Ahern?
Approved with conditions.
Mr. Noon?
Approved.
Yeah, Mr. Perrin?
Approve with conditions.
Okay, Mr. Flood, been approved with conditions. Wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, our final petition before us is ZB 2011-56. The petition is a special permit for signs. The applicant is Lowell Signs. Property is located at 1201 Bridge Street, and the petition is to internally illuminate wall signage for the units indicated per plans submitted pursuant to section 6.3 of the zoning ordinance. Representative Barlow Signs.
Good evening. This is Tim Sullivan from Barlow Signs. The applicant, I'm John Matthews. I'm the real estate representative for the owner, Valley Properties, Inc.
Yep.
And we'll jointly address you. I was here just over a year ago as the Sunrise Shopping Center has been developed and obtained this special permit for the Walgreens for Sal's Pizza and the late Blockbuster. And as we have moved along with the project, now you've seen the north wing of the stores, what we call the north wing being north of the new Market Basket store, and we're in the process of building out those stores and leasing them. Two of the tenants, Town Line Laundry and the the liquor shop, will be relocating soon, and on the drawing, the building elevation, we've shown you their signs. We're seeking a special permit for internal illumination for our 8 tenants that will be in the north wing. We've shown 6 rectangles on the building that represent the maximum conforming size of a sign that couldn't go on that building. And what we're doing for economy and efficiency and thinking of the board's time and trouble, that if we obtained a special permit for all 8 of those signs, provided that they're conforming to the zoning bylaw or the zoning ordinance, that we could obtain that special permit for all 8 and not go to the trouble of reapplying. There are over 120 abutters in both Lowell and Drake here, and we thought that there would be efficiency in that way. So our application is for the special permit for internal illumination. If I can come forward, I presented this picture last year, and I'll do it again this evening. This drawing shows the recently redeveloped shopping center, Wilmington Plaza, and I brought it because it shows the lighting conditions in the evening of the channel letter signs. These are all LED lit signs. There's no more neon. The neon that would go out or flash or do other things. So it's a very soft light in the signs, and this is the kind of effect that we require of our tenants under our sign standards for the shopping center. So, Tim, anything to add?
No, again, as Mr. Matthews has already stated, the time consumption of coming before the board for 8 tenants, filing the necessary paperwork for 8 tenants, what we're trying to do this evening is basically lump them all into one for the internal illumination, as long as the tenants conform with the other zoning regulations for the property. As Mr. Matthews also stated, the LED is a very low voltage, energy efficient type of sign, and the signs themselves is in keeping with other signs on the property, whether the Walgreens or the Sal's Pizza or the Market Baskets, the other tenants at the property. And again, it's also in keeping with the other signs in that area. The property sits some 250 feet off of Bridge Street. So the illumination is necessary, especially with the vehicle traffic in that section of town. And like I said, it's in keeping with the other signs in that area.
Okay, so I guess since neither one of you have mentioned, there was a comment we received from the design planner, Rachel Kisker.
Correct.
Did you have any discussion with Ms. Kisker at all in regards to her comments to us?
No, we didn't. We received that on Wednesday, so no, we haven't really talked to her at all about it.
Okay, so based on her comments to us, she talked about sizes and designs of individual signs have not been provided. Did you take a look at
Yes,
the verbiage?
yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Do you have any comments on what Rachel was stating? Yeah.
I do, and as a practical matter, what's happened is the sign for the liquor shop, which will relocate in the next week or two, a permit was pulled for the non-illuminated sign, and it's been put up. The same thing happened last year with sales, and recently happened with Verizon, and they put the sign up, and then they came in for the approval. So that, provided that we submit a sign that is eligible for a building permit, meets those dimensional requirements, there's really no design review over the sign, only whether it can be internally illuminated. And that's our logic there.
Okay. So you did have a conversation with Rachel over the phone, or?
No, we never talked directly with Rachel.
Okay.
But again, if it's a situation where she's requiring to see each individual sign, then our only other recourse is to come back for each individual tenant 8 times, 8 filings, 8 petitions, if you will. And that's what we're trying to eliminate. We're trying to, we've already had 5 special permits for the property, I believe, or 4 special permits. So we've already been before the board 4 times and received special permits for internal illumination. So again, we're just trying to streamline these other 8. And as long as we're within what's allowed by the town, we think it would be all right to allow the internal illumination.
So, not that I'm involved in the conversations between yourself and the city, but when you use the words like streamline and try to cut the, or try to increase the efficiencies, we're hearing that they didn't receive the proper documentation to make these decisions. So if you can just hear me for a minute.
Sure.
And so I guess I'm trying to figure out here if you think this is the efficient way of doing it, but now we're sitting here and I'm looking at what the design plan is coming back and saying to us that she did not receive the proper plans for all 8 signs, and she can't base any decisions on it. I'm just asking the question, was there any dialogue between the 2 parties before you even came tonight?
It didn't occur because we got the comments on last Wednesday, and then it was Thanksgiving, and City Hall was closed on Friday, and no, we didn't have that conversation. If the board wants to place a condition on the 6 signs for the basically unknown tenants, that those drawings be submitted, for review, administrative review, whatever. So, but if we can just avoid you know, the expense and the legal notices and the time, so that our tenants can get their signs on in a reasonable time period. That's really what we're looking for.
Legal notices in regards to what?
Special permit,
Right? Yeah.
the abutters
Okay,
notices.
so I guess maybe if I can pose a question to DPD, based on all the dialogue we've had so far, can you enlighten me about separate special permit applications versus, I'll call it a lump sum?
So I think what's happening here is you have typically a wall sign comes in an application for a wall sign. The special permit requires a public hearing process with the Zoning Board of Appeals, and there's notification requirements for abutters within 300 feet, and then it needs to be published twice in the Sun, 14 and 7 days prior to the public hearing. If all of these wall signs were brought in on a case-by-case basis, which is what the special permit process is, there would be notices going out to all abutters that live within 300 feet for each of those signs. Notices would go out 8 times and be published in the Sun 8 times. Aggregating all of the special permit reviews under one public hearing for all the signs, whether they exist or not, creates a situation where that only happens once rather than 8 times. Once rather than 8 times. Or, they could come in batches, but to whatever extent they can be aggregated as a complete sign package. So this is basically setting up placeholders on the wall. I think that's the intent with the application.
To have one application to cover all the signs. And I also see all the abutters being notified.
Correct.
Correct? So there's nothing wrong with the application, is that correct?
Well, the application is complete. I think what Rachel is addressing is that the board is basically making a decision on 6 signs that don't exist. You don't have a design, you don't have the colors and shape, and absolutely they're being proposed to meet a certain dimension requirement. There is based on the linear footage, as the board knows. But the special permit criteria, I think what Rachel's getting at in a more simple way, but maybe I'll make it more difficult. What she's getting at is it's hard to make a decision based on the special permit criteria on signs that you don't have to approve. I think, I don't want to really speak for Rachel, but my sense from the comments are that the existing signs, or the signs that are shown, the liquor store, the liquor shop, and Town Line Laundry, there wasn't really any concerns that I know of from Rachel. The current concerns were based on the fact that there's just placeholders there without any kind of designs that are available to review.
Okay, so based on everything that was just, that's what I'm trying to understand. If the application's correct the way it was submitted, but yet the design plan is saying she has nothing to look at based on 6 of the signs. When I looked at those comments, I kind of said to myself, all right, why wouldn't Barlow Signs have the 6 signs that the design planner needs? You know what I mean? I'm just trying to...
And the thing is that we're negotiating leases right now on these 6 spaces, and we don't have any signed drawings from the tenants, but they will conform to the zoning. And again, if they conform to the zoning, the tenant can pull the sign permit, non-illuminated, and put it up. The only issue is, can you light it or not? And that's why we consider this, one shopping center project. We have standards for lighting of all our signs. The city needs to issue a special permit. So the signs will conform to zoning. If they don't, they're going to come right here for a variance. And we don't intend for any of our tenants to come in for a variance. That's where we are.
Okay. Mr. Belanger would like to ask a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I understand that it's going to conform as far as linear footage, but her concern is that, we're going to approve something that's unseen. I think that's the issue here for 6 businesses. Although I'm sure everything's going to be fine, But, you know, again, we don't have a design, colors, or what it's gonna look like. Granted, you're not going over the linear footage, which is great. I think that keeps her happy in that regard. But, Mr. Chairman, if this does get approved, can we make it possibly a condition that Rachel review the design of each of these 6 remaining businesses to go up? Is the only solution I can think of.
Well, I think we can condition stuff, but I guess I'm more interested in the whole application process. Not that I'm saying you guys did anything wrong. I'm trying to understand, you know, going forward, is this the right way to do this? And, you know, I'm hearing one thing and then I hear something else, and I'm just trying to have a fair playing ground here, you know. That's why I guess I'm kind of looking at DPD to make sure. I understand what Rachel's saying, but in the same vein, I'm kind of saying, why would they go forward with an application like this? And this gentleman talks about the timing of, you know, with the holiday last week. Again, I don't know if that's true, not true. I'm not saying that's not, you know.
Okay.
So these are the questions I'm kind of asking myself. Why are we in the situation we're in right now?
So I guess I could address maybe a couple things that might help clarify what the process is. There's nothing that says necessarily that you can't approach a site comprehensively and look at it in terms of its context. Do the special permit, for example, do the special permit requirements, are they addressed based on the building itself, the design, certain standards such as the lights being LED, that they will not be built to extend beyond the maximum size. These kinds of things can lay I would argue could lay the groundwork to meet the special permit criteria. It's a discretionary review. I understand that you know, these are proposed to meet the dimensional requirements, but the special permit adds, you know, the 6 other criteria. Historically we have, the building department has allowed wall signs to go up that are intended eventually to be illuminated before they get the special permit, as long as they're not, you know, quote unquote, not turned on. I think there's a recent project on Westford Street, however, that did take place, and the special permit that was approved required some changes to that sign. So this is that process. However, you know, although it does speed up the ability to place the sign on the wall, it is, you know, at the you know, at the builders, the property owners. You know, they could run into a situation where they have to change the sign at their own cost. So I guess what I'm getting at is it leads a lot to the unknown of what you will see in the end. What you could do, what I would recommend as a possible solution is that if the board is inclined to approve a special permit for these, that the signs actually come back to the board as an administrative review at a regularly scheduled date. Not abdicating the decision-making authority to administration or staff, but have the ability to actually review the signs on your own. They don't necessarily have to be in a public hearing. It can be an old business item, but something that you, as a board, have the ability to weigh in on with, you know, DPD or whether it's Rachel or a different design planner. Weighing in on the design elements, so you have all the elements that you typically would have in a project review.
Well, I can speak for myself. I definitely want the design planner reviewing what is submitted from this party, and I'm fine with an administrative review that you're talking about. That's why I'm trying to, I guess, take care of this and address this. I appreciate the efficiency part of it, and I think that's smart, but I want to make sure we're doing the right thing and we don't have to keep coming back and forth, re-reviewing. That wastes your time and it wastes ours. If we can proceed with the suggestion that you're making, I'm fine with that. I just want to make sure we're even going forward in the future. I mean, Barlow Signs has come before us many times with different things. If we're faced with this same type of project, for instance, down the road, I'd like to have a clear, defined process of how it works so we don't have to spend time talking about it, that we can act.
Yeah, again, I think it's the special permit criteria, it's a discretionary permit. It gives the board the ability to drill down a little bit into each project or each proposal petition and assess the context and what's being proposed, how it fits within that, and how it meets the special permit criteria. I share your concern going forward on how proposals could come in as a blanket permit. I think in this case, I can't speak for future cases, but in this case, something where the general concept, the size, location seems to fit with the scheme and the comprehensive scheme, maybe to the standard that the zoning board would be looking for. However, I would recommend that it come back, each new sign as it comes in, come back to the board for approval as a non-public hearing item at the very least.
Non-public, yep.
They wouldn't need, meaning that it achieves the goal of not having to send out abutter notices for every single wall sign. However, the board is able to retain, you're able to retain your ability to review each proposal with the benefit of comment from DPD staff.
So it would need our approval before anything was actually put up, correct?
Or turned on. Historically,
Turned on,
again, we've allowed wall signs, and it sounds like the liquor shop is already up. The wall signs have gone up, intended to be internally illuminated, and they're kept off until the special
And the
permit is
Westford
approved.
Street one, which I vividly remember, was a commercial site
Correct.
that was already put up, and then, you know, we as a board made a change on that, and I know the tenant probably wasn't happy with it, but it didn't conform to what our rules and regulations were. So if you gentlemen are comfortable with what we're talking about,
Sure. We are.
I can't see why you wouldn't be, but, you know,
And we
I'm not
would
gonna
get the
speak for you.
approval for the town line laundry and the liquor shop tonight, the two that are known.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the beginning
The
of that.
town line the town line laundry and the liquor shop would get their approval this evening because their drawings are shown.
Okay.
Right?
Is that, just want to make sure, does that sound okay?
If
As far as
it's,
us voting on it? Yep.
the board's comfortable with that, I think the comments that Rachel provided didn't really address those two. It was unclear to us that whether or not this was just a placeholder of what it might be. But, you know, we have reviewed these, and, you know, I would argue that these signs fit with the scheme, general scheme of the site. So
Okay, good.
if I could speak for the department, I don't think there's any issues with these as proposed.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay, so with everything that's been said here, I haven't opened this up to the public yet, have I? Okay. Is there anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? In opposition? Opposition? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Open it up to the board. Kevin?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I wholeheartedly agree with all the discussions that we had. I understand both sides of it and why they're trying to streamline the process. I do think as a board, though, we need to withhold some discretion as far as what's going to happen in the future for these signs versus giving a blanket approval without being able to see them. We don't know who the tenants are going to be, design of the signs, what have you. And also for the future, if we were to give approval for these signs, as long as they adhered to the zoning requirements, we would not have the discretion of future tenants in that space, in my opinion, as well. So I think we would have to withhold that as we discussed. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, at first glance, I did have some concerns that we were stepping into an area of blanket approval of signs, and which would become precedent in shopping plazas, which I would not be in agreement with. However, with the in-depth insight of DPD's explanation of how we can move forward, I greatly appreciate that. In reference to Rachel's comments to these two particular signs, that she does agree and conform, I do hold and reserve the right to have each sign in the vacant spots come before us administratively to reserve our right to approve or deny those illuminations. I don't want to be caught in a situation where we are now opening ourselves up for blanket approvals across shopping plazas, but that has been addressed, and I wanted to thank DPD for their comments on that.
Okay, thank you, Gary. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank you, Mr. Chairman, for put a stop to this blanket approval, because I too concerned, as did my fellow board member Kevin and Gary, that is the blanket approval of the sign, that we have yet know what kind of business is coming in, whether or not they're going to conform with the dimension requirement as set forth by this board. So that's why we have the DPD design planners. That's her job for, among other things that she does for the city. You know, and to bypass her because we want to streamline, you know, the project, that's just not right. You know, I do concur with you and the rest of the board members with regard to this blanket approval. I'm not going to do that, do this with regard to the blanket approval. I may go ahead, you know, if that is the wish of the board, grant the approval for the liquor shop and the town line laundry, and those are the two that already have in places and businesses in places. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, President. Corey.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, some great points have been made by the other board members. You know, this blanket approval, it's just kind of new. I think this is a first. You know, and the building looks great there too. And I'm sure, you know, you and your colleagues want to do the right thing. I'm confident of that. But, you know, we just, again, it's unseen. So when I make a motion, I'm going to put a condition on it that the board obtain the ability to review each sign individually for approval. So, you know, we do get a chance to see what goes up there. Again, we don't have colors, sizes. We know what's going to be under the linear feet, so you won't need a variance there, and that works. So, you know, we want to help you. You spent a lot of money there, you know, and the tenant's got a big investment too, so we definitely want to help them. So that's, I think, is the best way to protect the board, Mr. Chairman, and so it can be reviewed by Planning and Development and this board for review as they go up individually. So I think that's the best solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. Dennis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The blanket approval, the signage looks beautiful, by the way. I think that the channel letters conforming dimensionally to zoning, using LED lighting is the way to go. And I think this image that you have here of the Wilmington Plaza is exactly what we want, I think, to see in this location. So I think that you're on the exact right track. And I think we just need some controls as far as what you're looking at trying to achieve. For instance, stating that it's going to be channel letters using LED lighting, for instance, would go a long way to helping assure us that we're going to get the quality in the product that you're describing. So I think that the idea of having a more streamlined process is a great one, as long as we can maintain assurance that there's going to be follow through with this proposal here. So I support this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So based on everything that's been discussed before and after with the board, so the town line laundry and the liquor shop, we're saying we're approving those tonight. Is that part of the 8 that we're approving, and then the other 6 will be part of the administrative review? Is that sound correct?
That would be,
okay,
as I understand it, as far as the request, and then,
right,
as I recommended as a possible process
Yep.
moving forward, that the remaining 6 spaces would come
so
back.
when the package that was submitted, we received this. This was on our, looks like an 11 by 17 that shows the 2 locations, and then it shows the other 6 storefronts. I noticed this doesn't have a date on it at all, but I know it's part of the package. So I would probably just reference that document just to show, you know, this board approving Town Line Laundry and the liquor shop. And then also for administrative review, the 6 remaining storefronts to be determined in the future for administrative review. Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
Hopefully I have it covered here, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion to approve the special permit with the following conditions: that the 2 storefronts, Town Line Laundry and the liquor shop, we are approving the LED illumination only. And for the 6 remaining storefronts, the board wants to obtain the ability to review each sign individually.
Okay. I have a second?
Second.
Before the second, on the administrative review, I also, for board review and also design planner, I just want to have that stated as such.
And the review is to include the Board of Appeals and sign planner of planning and development.
Yep.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay. I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Approved with conditions.
Mr. Belanger?
Approved with conditions.
Mr. Ahern?
Approved with conditions.
Mr. Noon?
Approve with condition.
Mr. Parent?
Approved with conditions.
Okay, sir. Been approved with conditions. Hopefully we get this all lined out going forward. Okay. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
And in the next few weeks, we'll come in with the other tenants if they come home. We'll try to bring you 2 or 3 at a time. Thanks.
Right. And yep, that'd be great. Okay. Thank you very much. Aaron, do you want them to sign?
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Clerk, anything else we need to entertain at this point? I don't see any other. No minutes to review.
No, I don't believe so, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Have a second.
Second.
Thank you very much.
Aye, sir.
There you go, Fezna. That's for you.
Yeah, I do have a quick question.